got this. All right, you guys got this. Y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all can do this. We've done this year. Yeah, you guys can review it. You guys know it. God, you know it. You know it. You know it. So no fear, no fear. We got this. All right, so for 4, it asks us to find fog of 4 or f of g of 4. So I'm just changing it from this version to this version to make it easier to look at. And then we're going to work it out using our table. So if we're talking about g of x, it means we're looking at this bottom table. If we're talking about the f of x, we're talking about the top table. All right, so, all right, so let's go and start off with our top table. All right, so we start with the inside portion, not the table, but sorry, the inside portion of it. So here we say, okay, when x equals 4, what is your y value? So x is equal to 4 right here. What is your y value? So looking at this portion here, when x equals 4, and we're talking about g of x, what is your y? Your y is 9. So g of 4 equals 9. So when x equals 4 for x, your y was 9. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and find f of 9. 9. All right. So now we're going to our f function. So when x equals 9, your y is 0. And guys, that's it. That's your answer. Your answer is 0. Bam. All right. So number 5 is going to work the same way, but this time dealing with graphs. So this one we're looking for g of f of x. No, g of f of 1, sorry. All right, so if we're looking at g of f of 1, that means we're going to do g of f of 1, like you said. I'm going to rewrite it so it looks like this. Guys, I just repeated myself, so I was like, that's crazy. Mr. Hall, you're so funny. Ha, 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 ha. Sorry. All right, so we're going to start here. If you think of SpongeBob. You made me experience high tide. Oh. All right, so here we're doing f of 1. So again, we're looking at the f function, and maybe I should do that in blue. It doesn't really matter. All right, so here doesn't matter there. When x equals 1, so here when x equals 1, we're trying to find out what is our y value. So we have to go to the blue graph, which is f. So we go up to f, and we see that the answer is 2. So when x equals 1, your answer is 2. All right. So now that we have our x value, or the f of 1 value, now we substitute 2 in for that spot. All right, and so we look at the g function. So when x equals 2, you go down to the g function and see what is the value, the y value. So it gives you -2 right there. Oops, sorry. So when x equals 2, your y value is -2. When x equals 2, y is -2. Okay, so we get an answer of -2. All right, and then number 6 is another type. But just this time we put the actual functions together, or the table together. So it's not 2 separate tables, it's just one big table. And again, they want us to find fog of 1, or f of g of 1. All right, so we're doing f of g of 1. Again, we start off with the inside. It's the sweet one. All right, so we're talking about our g of x function here. So when x equals 1, what is your y value for g of x? So when x equals 1, we have to go down to the line that says g of x, which is this line right here. So when x equals 1, we come down to the g of x line, and we get a -1. What? -1 there. Okay. All right, so now instead of writing g of 1, we put that -1 in that spot. We substitute that in. All right, so when x equals -1, we go down to our f of x. So the second line right here is f of x. So when x equals -1, your value is 1. And again, guys, that's it. That's all we have to do when it comes to these. So that is our composite functions. A composition of functions using tables and graphs. So easy. That was easy stuff. Yeah, I remember that. Y'all remember that part. All right, so let's go ahead and go to 7. We should be able to do 7 and 8 here so that we can go ahead and do our transformations or our trig transformations. All right, so for 7, it says to find the amplitude. You see right here, it says find the amplitude and the period of this function. So f of t equals -2 cosine 3t. Okay, and with that, we're finding our amplitude and we're going to find our period. So let me leave these spaces here for these. All right, for amplitude, remember amplitude is just that number that's in front. Remember, this is A. Remember, amplitude is not going to be negative simply because, remember, that negative means we're flipping the function. We're rotating it about the x-axis. So here, A is going to be equal to 2, and it's always going to be positive. No matter what's in front, if there's a negative in front, it does not matter. Your amplitude is always going to be positive. So it's always going to be that positive number right there. So positive 2 here. That says positive. I'm sorry. That looks weird. All right, so it says positive 2 there. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. All right, so for period, remember we used that same formula of 2 pi over k. So we'll do 2 pi over 3. Okay, then. So 2 pi over 3. And if we simplify that down, that's it. There's nothing else to simplify down. So that is 2 pi over 3. So our period is 2 pi over 3. Our amplitude is 2. Amplitude will always be positive. And with that being said, for number 8, it's going to give you the same type of function again with a negative in front, which means it flips about the x-axis. But this time we're going to find our amplitude. And first off, before we do that, it's going to write the equation. And even before we actually do the work, let me rewrite this again. Remember, this is a sine k, you can say t theta x. I'm going to put t here. All right, and so here you can see there's no h back there, so we don't have to worry about that. But this function asks for the amplitude, the period, and the phase shift. Okay, do that. Oh, sorry, there you go. All right, so with the period, remember again, use the same formula. So 2 pi over k. For phase shift, remember that's negative c over k. Negative c over k. All right, so let's go and take a look at these now. And let's go ahead and get these answers. Again, remember, A is always going to be positive. Remember that negative flips it about the x-axis. So 5 is going to be our amplitude. Again, always positive. Always. Always. Always positive. Yes. All right, so we got that part. So we got 2 pi here. If you look back at what we wrote up top, our k is 7. So that's 2 pi over 7. Can that simplify down? No, it stays right there because 7 and 2 can't simplify each other down or can't knock each other out. Nothing. I said knock each other out. That's funny. I'm gonna knock you out. All right, so here our C is -1. So put a -1 there. Our K we set was 7. So we have a -1. That reduces down to a +1 over 7. Look at that. So it means our period is 2 pi over 7. Our phase shift is 1/7. And our amplitude is 5. Bang. All right. So we're going to do one more video for the last two for this section, and then we're going to move forward.